All right, we're back for part 3 of the daily Q&A or all-day Q&A with Wildstar. This is an exclusive video and it is part 3. I don't know why Facebook keeps kicking me off and ending my connection. Maybe I'm talking about too much, but I thank you all for sticking with me in this process and throughout these technical difficulties. Anyways, I'm going to get back to answering these questions that I have here. I'm almost through the list. So if you have any questions that you would like to ask, again, please feel free to jot that question down here and repeat it if need be. Welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. I appreciate you. Hi again, Rebecca. Hey, love you too. All right, so thank you guys so much for coming back for part 3. Hopefully we'll be able to get through it this time in all one piece. And yeah, so where I left off, I was being asked this long question that asked me a lot of things, which is, what's my take on immigration, abortion, healthcare, education, free speech, and military? So if you'd like to see my answer to the others, check it out in part 2. But I'm going to pick up where I left off at education, the last one. So, education, again, the government should not be involved in education. Here in the state of California, we have a failing K-12 educational program, and that is simply because the government is saying that it can throw money at the problem and fix it. It cannot. We should allow the education to be constructed on a city level, on a state level, and allow the people of the community to be involved in that process. We need parents involved. We need the student body involved. We need the school board involved, okay? Faculty members, and that's why these bodies exist. And so parents and there's student faculty and school faculty can get together with the school board, sit down, come to an agreement, and determine what's best for the children. So let's allow them to do so, opposed to coming up with this one-size-fits-all type of approach, thinking that we again know what's best for everyone. What may work for one individual or for one group of people may not work for everyone else. So we need to respect that. And government does not have the answer for that. It needs to respect that and, if anything, appreciate that. One way that it can and will allow people to appreciate that once I'm governor is getting the government out of it altogether. So I actually have an exit plan of up to 25% of government's involvement in education, healthcare, etc. All of these social services that you receive, get us out of it. 25%. If we could do that, just alleviate a little bit and give it back to the people of the state, and do that slowly but surely each time until you get used to taking care of yourself, then I believe that we would start to see that progress there and start to see an easing of the amount of taxes that we're receiving, as well as the amount of corruption and mismanagement of public funds that we see happening all the time in our state government. They aren't being held accountable, and when they throw away hundreds of millions of dollars on whatever the case may be, then we need to hold them accountable. So these individuals that we put in charge, we can fire them. The way that we do it, your superintendent or whatever the case may be, you need to make sure that you vote for the right individuals that aren't going to want to spend more of your money to make it seem like they know what to do more than you. Let's see. It says Facebook is tripping. Hopefully you're still with me, all right? Let's see. I'm going to move along here. Next question is free speech. What's my take on free speech? Well, first and foremost, the First Amendment does not give you the right to say whatever you want. It says that government has the job to respect your right to say whatever you want, even if it's something that they don't like. Within the First Amendment, there's 5 things. There's the freedom of speech, you speaking your mind. There's the right to assembly. There's the right to petition. There's the right for free media, okay? And there's the right for you to collectively get together. So if we want to have those rights and freedoms of speech respected, then we need to employ individuals that will do exactly that. They are not right now. They're too busy dictating what they think is best for us. So I know I sound like a dictabird here, but that's as simple as it is. That's what's happening right now. We put people in charge that think they know what's better for us all, no matter what the case may be, whether it be their own personal experience or they think they have some book knowledge because they went to some Ivy League school or whatever the case, or may seen some studies or whatever the case. They think they know what's best for us all, instead of being honest and saying that they don't know. I'm honest. I don't know. We don't know. Government does not know. So putting me in charge as governor will allow our government body to now focus on what it does not know instead of it focusing on trying to use your money to fix problems that it has no business trying to fix whatsoever. We need to stop that. My budget would look completely different. It wouldn't be, I'm going to spend $700 million of the people of California's money. It would be, I'm going to cut spending for $700 million of taxpayers' money. This is the way to reduce the amount of spending. If you had your own house and were spending money off of your budget, you wouldn't talk about how much money you're going to collect and then spend. You're going to talk about how you can save money. And that typically has to do with where you can cut spending in your expenses in order to be able to save and build up a surplus to put some money away for a rainy day. And that's what we need to do, is get back to saving some money and allowing the people of the state to save more of their money. So when it comes to respect for free speech, here in the state of California, we have certain free speech zones at colleges. Right now, there's Kevin Shaw, who's a candidate running for assembly out of Los Angeles. If you were to vote for him, then he would protect your right for free speech. So look up your candidates and support those candidates that would uphold the Constitution first and foremost and protect your rights, because that's their job. So I would definitely, again, make sure that every state official and any ordinance that would infringe upon that right would not be enforced upon you and could be refused with impunity. So next, the military. I wouldn't be in charge of the military since I'm running for state office, but when it comes to funding, funding of the military, the government, the federal government, is receiving that from the taxpayers of the state of California. So what I would propose is that we, as the people of the state of California, see where our tax dollars have been going in if it's been helping our military and personnel. If it is not, then we end our funding, okay? If we no longer want to support a war in a foreign country, these occupational wars where we're sending men and women, our children, our friends and family members, our mothers, our fathers of our community out to protect us and serve us, and they're going out to foreign countries and protecting special interests in oil fields and poppy fields, that's a job that those companies need to hire private individuals for, not our military. So if that is being done, no more money being spent at all whatsoever. And it would be a way for the people of California to be able to save their money. We're going to keep things going, hopefully. All right, this is still going. I just got another notification that Facebook is trying to close. So, yeah, when it comes to the federal government and military spending, I definitely think that needs to be reduced. One of the ways that we can do that as citizens here in the state of California is say we're no longer going to fund any federal government military efforts. They just ballooned the budget again, another $1.3 trillion, with the great majority of that going towards the military spending. So they have enough money, and if we want to build up our state and the Natural Guard and make sure that our Coast Guards here have the best and top of the line equipment, then it would behoove the people of California to keep our money here to make sure that they have access to that technology as well and are able to keep our borders and our state here safe. So we could better use the money here in the state. All right. Next question. What would a new California prospect do to or for the Libertarian Party in California and beyond? If you don't know about what's going on here in California, we have certain cities that have gotten together and are pissed off with government pretty much to where they want to separate and create their own state, which they are able to do according to the California Constitution and according to the United States Constitution. So we should allow them to do so. Preventing them from do so is to apply force on individuals that would like to make a choice for themselves. That is inherently wrong. We need to stop doing that. So if they feel like they can manage their piece of property, their land, their cities, or whatever the case may be, their community better as a smaller group, then we should let them do so. So with regards to the new California initiative, as well as with Jefferson State, those people there that feel like they are losing a lack of representation, which I feel like as well, being here in Southern California, there isn't much representation of the desires of we the people, the bread and butter of this state. And if we really did have our voices heard, then we wouldn't be dealing with much of the problems that we're dealing with here in the state. Increased regulatory practices, increased poverty and homelessness, and rising costs of living, and rising mortgage costs and property costs. So everything is ballooning and inflating out of control, and it's all because the government thinks it has all of the answers, which it does not. So when it comes to the prospect of the cities and getting together and creating their own state, then it would be more helpful for us to manage. It would be smaller, and it would be greatly beneficial, of course, as a libertarian, because my goal is to minimize government as possible to make it more efficient and more beneficial for the people of the state. So I, of course, as governor, would do everything in my power to alleviate those issues that the people in those counties, in those cities, etc., are feeling as if are preventing them from feeling as if they're part of the state, from wanting to be here. So if we could alleviate all of those concerns and make them happier Californians, then I would think they would want to stay part of our collective state, and we could definitely do so. But if they chose to continue forth, then we can create an exit strategy, maybe sit down at the table and come to an agreement and say, hey, 1 to 3 years, then, we'll do everything in our power to help you become more self-sufficient. And once you are running on your own and have your own government body in place, then more power to you. We need to continue to have that relationship where we're trading with one another, of course, and being able to allow people to be able to travel freely. You have families that live in one part of the state and the other, so we don't want to stop them from being able to travel freely to see their friends and family. So again, we need to improve our relationships with one another, city officials as well as state officials, and with the people of California. All right, just trying to close again. I'm gonna move on before we get cut off. Would you support a universal basic income? And if not, why? If so, why? No, I would not support a universal basic income. Again, government should not be involved in any redistribution of wealth whatsoever. Taxes are collected by force. If you do not pay your taxes, what happens? You have something taken away from you. Is that fair? No, it should not be. So you should not be forced to pay for anything that you don't want to, whether it be education, healthcare, prisons, whatever the case may be. You shouldn't be forced to pay for it. So when it comes to taxation, it is theft because you're being threatened to pay that, or if not, you will be subjected to some sort of consequence, whether it be more money of being taken from you, or your property, your house, your car, whatever the case may be. Sometimes even your job. Here in the state, if you have a certain amount of debt owed to the state, a job can deny you an opportunity to work simply because they don't want the state involved in, their process of paying you your money. So you can be denied a job because you didn't pay your taxes. It's unfair. We need to stop that altogether. So, no, there would not be any more forceful collection of taxes to be redistributed to others for a universal basic income. I know a lot of people feel like this would be a great way to consider and consolidate those welfare services, whether it be money for food or money for housing or money for general use, etc., or any type of general aid. But those are done specifically for those specific reasons. One person may just need help with food because they're only receiving so much in income to take care of their personal bills, and that is a leg up for them and helps. So building a universal basic income would be creating a new government body. We definitely do not want to do that. I don't want to. We need to reduce the amount of government bodies that we have here in the state. So no, I would not be creating a new government organization for that. I would support it, however, if it were to be done by people of the city in whatever county that you're in, and if you wanted to collectively get together and pass legislation like what they have done in Stockton, California, then you would be able to create that universal basic income if you see it as being beneficial for those people in need in your city. So it's up to the people, always, and will always be. So if you want to fight against it or create it, you have to go out there and get involved. So get off your butt, go vote, go open your voice and let your thoughts be heard, and go to your city council meetings and let all of your concerns be known. Because that's what's going to matter the most, and that's what's going to shape these policies that are then going to be imposed upon the collective. We have a small group choosing for the many. If you don't vote, somebody's going to do it for you. You get it? So if you don't like these laws and you don't like these government organizations that make you feel less restricted, then get rid of them. Get involved. So no, I would not support it. We have all of these millionaires talking about how we need to create a universal basic income and universal health care. I say to those individuals, put your money where your mouth is. We have individuals in Silicon Valley that are now putting up their own money doing exactly that to help solve the homeless problem, as well as to help those in need that may need food or housing, etc. So we should be taking care of ourselves opposed to relying on government to take care of us altogether. And that's not its job. Next, how do you feel about chemtrails and Agenda 21? All right, if you don't know about Agenda 21, Agenda 21 is a 1992 UN Declaration for Sustainable Development. It is actual real thing, and it proposes. Facebook is trying to shut me down again, y'all. It basically proposes that that as a UN charter that the world get on board with controlling a sustainable environment. Okay, this has to deal with our atmosphere. So chemtrailing is part of that. It's also called geoengineering. You can look this up. It's real stuff. Okay, if you look up in the sky and see the tic-tac-toe patterns, and a lot of people call those contrails, normal condensation from a plane going by and then it dissipating. Well, chemtrails is the plane going by and leaving the stream in the air. What they've come to find, scientists that have done studies and tests have come to find that these chemtrails pretty much are leaving amounts of barium and aluminum, etc., in the atmosphere. And the government's response is that it's being done to prevent a certain amount of damaging UV rays from entering the atmosphere. At the same time, we're breathing in this stuff, so imagine what type of effect it's having on our bodies. So the global initiative to push climate change, I believe, is part of the Agenda 21, which it actually specifies as a UN document. If you look it up, it also includes a breakdown of what it determines to be sustainable versus what is unsustainable. If you look this up, it's crazy, all right? Because I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'll tell people this. I'm a conspiracy factualist. If you can prove to me with facts anything that you say that may be looked at as being conspiracy, and it is proven with facts, it's no longer a theory. It is fact, okay? So with the Agenda 21 document, which is again a UN document, in 1992, the UN determined that the sustainable environmental document would be passed to pretty much create an environment that would be controlled and sustainable. So they dictate every factor of that. The agenda is for the 21st century. This has to do with our atmosphere. This has to do with water. This has to deal with food. This has to deal with communities. This has to deal with wealth. They actually see wealth as being unsustainable. Why? Because people with a lot of money are looked at as buying a lot of things, versus people that don't have much don't use as much. So if you make a lot of money, you're looked at as being unsustainable, and that's why you see a lot of policies preventing individuals from being able to increase their individual wealth. This is a real thing. You can look it up, all right? And they have a website, Agenda 21. So I would definitely make sure that organizations such as ACORN and ICLEI are removed from the state of California. No more depopulation programs, no more gentrification programs where you have certain areas that are lower in property value being bought up by corporations, and to increase the property value and move out those individuals into the outskirts. It is a controlling of wealth. It's a controlling of individuals. They do it to our children through indoctrination through schools. This is part of the document as well. They determine the timeline would be the children between 2005 and 2014, I believe. And it is to get our children to believe that our environment is unsustainable. The amount of food that we create, the amount of humans here on this planet. We have the Georgia Guidestones, which dictates that a certain amount of humans are needed in order to have the planet be sustainable and controllable. I think it was like 200,000 or something like that. Look it up, Georgia Guidestones. It's weird, but it's actually a monument. So we have monuments in place supporting this. We have policies in place like Agenda 21 and Rex 24 or Rex 84 that enforce this. And it's sad that we would think that our government would not have a sinister type of agenda in place or mind in place to want to harm us, but they do. Their goal, again, is to make sure those in power stay in power. And if the relationship is between a corporate-funded candidate, they're not going to support any policies that would prevent any type of lobbyist or business from being able to stay in power. So if we want to change things, we have to get those candidates in office that are passing these policies that are benefiting these small corporations, these small few, these small elitists, group of elitists that want to keep the majority of us from being able to succeed. So it is a war on our families, on our children, and it is being implemented on a city level, on a state level, on a national level, and now here with this UN declaration on a worldwide level. It also elevates the precautionary principle, and that is the assumption that one is guilty before proven innocent. And we see that happening more and more every day. And to prevent others from harming anyone, the precautionary principle is to pretty much act on the assumption that you will be a harm to others. Therefore, government is the one dictating your mental capacity, and we see that being increased as well with the new gun reform regulations that's being determined, with government saying that any individual that may have a mental issue should be denied the right to own a gun and protect themselves. So government is still saying they want to be the ones in charge of determining your mental health. But who told them that? Who gave them that right? Who put them in charge of that? You. Because you keep voting for these people. It's that damn simple. Stop voting for them and start voting for people like me that will get people like them out of office and put the power back in your hands where it belongs. Stop putting our money into their pockets and into these programs, into these policies that harm us. So yes, there would be a working on my part to stop Agenda 21 and depopulation type of practices here in the state of California. Also, let's see, with the indoctrination of our generation, we see that happening now with the gun debate, with our children, with them saying that they want to repeal the Second Amendment. As I said earlier in the other part of this video, government does not give you your rights. It is an agreement between us, we the people, and the legal society that we put in charge to do their job, to protect us. And that legal agreement says we will always have the right to protect ourselves. You take that away, then you are breaking that contract, okay? If the government wants to do that, there will not be any enforcement of that whatsoever. The federal government would not have any jurisdiction in the state of California to come into this state and forcefully disarm people, okay? I'll let you know and make that promise to you here right now. That won't happen on my watch, all right? So we got to tell our children the truth. We must teach them what we have forgotten ourselves, and it takes a matter of educating ourselves on what we know to be true, our common sense rationale of the matter, which is that we shouldn't be forced to agree with someone that we don't agree with. And the non-aggression principle is, you know, treat others how you want to be treated. And we naturally respect this as individuals. We need to make sure that our government is respecting that. And if they aren't, to remove them from power, because they will create an environment where we are under threat by either people in our own country, a domestic threat, or a foreign one. So if our sworn officials are swearing to defend us from any threat, domestic or foreign, then we need to be able that we need to make sure that they're able to do exactly that. So taking away any type of further responsibilities that would prevent them from doing so would greatly make it more advantageous for we the people. We want to reestablish that relationship of trust and make sure that they're upholding their constitutional oath. All right, I'm going to move along to the last question here, which is, what would you do about the high-speed rail to nowhere? Defund it completely, 100% immediately. There would be no more money being spent on the high-speed rail from taxpayers. What we could do is we could make money off of the high-speed rail project by selling off what has been done so far, that bit of infrastructure that we did create, to the highest bidder. And that would allow them to pick up the project and actually create a high-speed rail that will be of high speeds versus it being a low-speed rail where you have slower speeds at certain tracks simply because they couldn't afford the amount of resources necessary in order to keep that up to par. So if we got government out of it altogether, that's how it works. If we got government out of public transportation, we would see more public transportation services being provided to us, more innovative and more technological services being provided to us, such as a high-speed rail, or what Elon Musk over at Tesla, or the Boring Company is what they call it, is creating. It's a matter of pneumatic tunnels under the city that's going to allow these cars to travel up to speeds of 200 miles per hour or something like that. I don't know. It's going to be going incredibly fast. But people will be able to drive their cars on these pneumatic sleds as well. So it'll be a way for people to bypass traffic as well as be able to get to their destination at a quicker speed. So it is a matter of us removing the amount of regulations, removing the amount of regulations that prevent industry professionals and providers from providing that service to you, the people of the state. So if we got government out of public transportation, you would see more high-speed rails. They would be built quicker. You would see more boring companies. They would be built quicker. You would see more bus companies. They cut off at certain times, and that's because they're given that certain monopolization over that contract. It should be allowed and open to all providers. You shouldn't have just one bus line. You should have multiple bus lines running all hours of the day. And if one service charges $4 to ride versus another one charges 50 cents to ride, if you as a consumer choose to support either, then that is your choice, and that is why they would be successful as businesses. Not because taxpayers are using their money to provide a service that isn't being used, that is inefficient, and is providing more of a disservice to the community, to the public. So, I've gotten through all of my questions here. Finally, I hope that I answered them all thoroughly to the best of my ability. I did my best. If you have any further questions, of course, or would like for me to elaborate further on any of them, you're welcome to email me. Again, my email is on my website. I'm not going to tell you because I want you to visit my website, wildstar2018.com. Please visit my website, find out more about the campaign, and if you'd like to contact me to send me a question, just click on contact and you will find all of my information right there. Excuse me. So with that said, oh, of course, and with this video, if you'd like to leave some comments or questions, just leave those here. I'll be sure to answer that at a later date, because I'm now focusing on my campaign 24/7 and am pretty much running a one-man show. It is very difficult for me to be able to answer these questions as quickly as possible, but I will do my best to get back to those daily or Q&A videos where I do answer one of these questions as quickly as possible and get that out there to you. So leave it here in the comments. I'll answer as soon as I can, or as I said before, visit my website, wildstar2018.com, and email me that question. So, if you have a question, you're welcome to ask me now. I'll sit around for a few minutes and answer those, but if you don't have any, I will be ending this video, okay? So it looks like I have one question here, which is, what are you going to do to help those, let's see, what are you going to do to help those who are disabled? It says who are disabilities, but I believe you mean who are disabled. Again, I would like for the people of the community to be able to help those people in need. Those people that are disabled, there are those that have a chronic disability that impair them from being able to live their lives as fully functional as the rest of us. I would definitely think those people would deserve a priority in any type of assistance. And of course, believe that our structure right now is set up to do so. However, the system itself is also abused, just like our welfare system, where you have individuals claiming to be disabled that are not. You have people receiving funding for wheelchairs and are not disabled at all, or any type of mental disability, where again the government is dictating their learning capacity, where an employer should be able to dictate that learning capacity. So if you are claiming to have a mental disability, what is that particularly? Is it one that is keeping you from functioning properly and being able to live your life as a functional being and go get a job and work for a living? Or is it one where you're completely disabled and are unable to move and are in need of daily assistance in order to live? There are children like that. I would think they would need more of a help to get along in life, opposed to a grown individual that is dealing with those same type of circumstances. Because if you're talking about funding for these individuals and where they're going to get any type of assistance, if we're going to collectively get together and choose to do that and provide that aid as a state, then we need to be making sure that that money is being spent on helping those in need. An older person most likely has a support system there for them with their family, versus a child. The family itself is the parents. They're the ones that have to work a day-to-day job and are finding it more difficult to help their child as well as be able to build their family. So we need to help those that need the most help, definitely. But when it comes to funding, I would definitely, again, feel like that matter should be best dealt with on a local level. Let's see. I think that's more of a comment. My man here, Dimitar, said, nature governs itself. Deregulate everything. Human control, not in sync with natural laws. You're right about that. Is a cancer, foreign body, government of a natural body. People need freedom, not controlled through regulation. The good have the laws written in their hearts. The bad always break them, no matter what regulation are for. Yeah, you're right about that. A criminal gonna be a criminal, regardless of what we put on paper. For the bad people only. And that's the thing, is we're hiring government to do a job, and they're creating policies with good intentions, but when it has bad results, we need to make sure that those policies are repealed and abolished and rid of immediately. We can't keep them going thinking, oh, it's going to work, or add to them thinking that, oh, it's going to continue to work. If it won't and it doesn't work, let's get rid of it and do something new. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and again, expecting the same result. How many of you are suffering from insanity right now? And he said, the good regulate themselves. It's called freedom. You're right about that. Good to hear you, Governor. Oh, good to hear you too, Danny. Thank you for chiming in. Said you got it all right, and I will support you. I appreciate you supporting me. I definitely need it. And thank you, Rebecca. Thank you. I got TJ Savage on here, just saying what's up. Hey, TJ, thank you so much for chiming in. And thank you, Allison. I appreciate you for watching. Let's see. All right, so it looks as if I'm caught up on comments and questions. If anybody here would like to ask me any more, you're welcome to. Facebook is still trying to shut me down. Every few minutes it says it's trying to close this app. I've been constantly censored by Facebook. I've had my account shut down a multitude of times and had to provide them with government ID just to open my account. Something's happening here when a free service such as Facebook, a social media platform where we're voluntarily choosing to get involved but are being forced to comply with a certain parameter and dialogue, then we're not allowed the free zone as we once thought fit. So if we want to get away from Facebook, get away from regulatory practices, get away from censorship, then we must rise up and we must say no, and we have to do it now. So I implore all of you out there that are watching this video and are entertained by the idea of liberty to start acting on the idea of liberty, bringing it to fruition, and that is by supporting candidates that are liberty-minded. And the majority of them that you're going to find are in the Libertarian Party. However, you will find other Democratic and Republican Party, believe it or not, candidates, and Green Party candidates that are third party altogether that are liberty-minded and will support your individual liberty. I myself became introduced to the idea of libertarianism by hearing Dr. Ron Paul, who is a Republican, was a Republican, and even had me vote Republican for the first time ever after having had been a Democrat for decades. So we need to get away from this idea of thinking as a collective and getting caught up in that pack mentality to where we must think, oh, I must vote for a Republican candidate no matter what they say, or I must vote for a Democratic Party candidate no matter what they say. We're getting a little bit of what we want from both. It would be best for us to find one party where we can get the majority of what we want and feel like that we've all won, opposed to have lost a little bit. And that is what I'm asking for all of you out there, is to get involved, vote Libertarian, because it is that opportunity and chance for you to get the majority of what you want. It'll be your freedom all the time. That's where we draw the line. That's where we stop and start. And liberty will be the foundation of all of our policies that are created. So, as governor, what you can help me do as the first libertarian governor of any state is get more libertarian candidates employed and hire them. I would love for you to do so by voting for all libertarian candidates that are running here throughout the state. Wherever you are, you're going to find them. You'll see the ones for state office, and then you'll see the ones for your local office. If you are looking up those lists of candidates and end up finding that you have no libertarian candidates running for office where you are, you run yourself. You can do it. Trust me. All you have to do is get out there and apply yourself. And we need more representatives of we the people, regular people, people that aren't bought out by special interest groups, people that don't have their own personal prejudices in mind that they're going to impose upon someone else, or any type of beliefs that they're going to, again, use as a determining factor to dictate law and practice law and enforce law and have policies created to where later we're going to end up having to fight them to remove them. And that's what laws are. They're arbitrary. We can always change them. What sticks to the root of it and the foundation of it is those three documents: the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, and the Bill of Rights. So please, again, be sure to review those documents. Excuse me. Visit my website, Wildstar2018.com. And again, be sure to get one of your free shirts right here. The revolution needs you. Love needs you. On the back says Wildstar. If you'd like to get one of these shirts for free, all you got to do is make a video saying why you would vote Wildstar for governor. I am running a completely 100% grassroots campaign and am being crowdfunded by people like you. So please be sure to visit my crowd pack. That's crowdpack.com. Enter in Wildstar. You'll find me, okay? And once you do, please be sure to donate, because every little bit helps. It keeps me going, keeps the message being able to be promoted out there. It's not going towards paying my bills, okay? It's going towards paying the bills for campaign expenses. And every campaign costs, no matter how much it is. Email blasts, all of this stuff, social media outlook, and all of this stuff, these banners, these shirts, bumper stickers, it all costs. And thanks to people like you, I've been able to afford it all so far. I don't need much. All I need is just a little bit to keep things going. So I actually just printed up 5,000 pledge cards, which me and a group of my county captains and county coordinators and people involved on the street team throughout the state will be going door to door, having people sign. It says, yes, I will be voting Wildstar for governor on June 5th. I had 5,000 printed up. We need 1 million votes to win, okay? We can do this. The numbers don't lie. And if we get a low voter turnout, what's expected here in the state of California for this gubernatorial race is about 1 million to 2 million actual registered voters coming out to vote. If we can get out those independents, if we can get out the people that's fed up with the two-party system, if we can get out all of those people that want to bring back liberty to our state and be able to live freely in a free country. It's so sad that you have to explain liberty to people. Okay, it should be fundamental, a fundamental understanding, but here we are having to explain those things that we have forgotten simply because we have been indoctrinated to believing that government exists one way, and that is the only way that it is supposed to be, and that is authoritative, that is dictatorial, and that is controlling. I don't want to be controlled. I'm a grown man. I know some of y'all out there watching are grown too. I hope you are. And if you are underage, once you become of age, you will need to be responsible of yourself. Your parents should be telling you this. If they aren't, I'm telling you, be responsible for yourself. Be a grown-up now and start taking responsibility for your actions, your consequences, and your choices, of course. Because good or bad, you're the one that has to deal with the outcome. As a community, we are affected by that. It does take a village to raise a child. So parents, if you're sending your children off to school and expecting the teachers and the school board to provide them with a safe environment, allow them to do so, whatever the case may be. And if you live in a city or state where they're considering that the teachers or whatever, the principals and faculty be able to protect themselves, and whatever the case may be, allow them to do so. Support that. Because you want them to be able to protect your children when you're not around. If you're not going to be there to help them and teach them this and of course provide that environment for them, then support those that will. All right? We need to work together as a team, and right now here in the state of California, we have one of the lowest qualities of life. We can increase that, we can change that. And one of the first things that we can do is take back our government from a controlling government that would be continue to be under a false narrative and let us think that we need to depend on them in order to exist. So let's change that around for once. Bring back liberty to the state of California. Turn the Golden State gold for once and vote Libertarian. I thank you all for tuning in for the all-day Q&A with Wildstar. This is part 3. I'll do my best to compile them all together, but it probably worked out that they're broken up because a lot of people have short attention spans. I lost a lot of people up until now. So thank you for tuning in. And till next time, peace and blessings to you all. May the light of God and liberty shine in each and every one of you. Peace.